Chosen one. Have you ever wondered why your eyes open at exactly 3 a.m., as if something unseen has pulled you out of your sleep? Why is it that in those silent hours, when the world is still, your spirit feels the weight of something pressing upon it? This is not coincidence. This is not random. This is a spiritual summons, a moment where the veil between the seen and unseen is thinnest. They call it the witching hour, but for the chosen ones, it is the awakening hour, the moment heaven and the hidden realms contend for your attention. There is a story from the scriptures that mirrors this mystery. Prophet Moses, in the stillness of the desert night, heard the voice of God calling him from the burning bush. It was not in the busyness of the day, but in the stillness of isolation where he received his divine instruction. Much like you, Moses had been through betrayal, hidden years, and silent preparation. And when the time came, heaven interrupted his silence with fire and command. Your 3 a.m. awakening is no less sacred. It is heaven's whisper, and sometimes the shadows attempt to intercept that whisper. Just as Joseph was given dreams that set his destiny apart, you too are given signs in the night that others cannot understand. Before we continue deeper, I want to invite you to center your spirit in this moment. Take a gentle breath and let it remind you that you are still here, still chosen, still protected. Believe that the words you are about to hear are not an accident, but a divine appointment meant specifically for you. Let the truth stir within your heart. Indeed, with hardship comes ease. And also, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Let these words settle into your being as confirmation that what disturbs you in the night can also awaken you into power. I know you have endured silent nights of confusion, wondering why your rest is interrupted. You've cried in those hours, feeling alone, feeling under attack, feeling unseen. But what if I told you that your midnight tears were not wasted? That every time you woke up trembling, you were stepping into sacred preparation. You were not being punished, you were being positioned. That hour, though heavy, carries the mystery of transformation. The forces that seek to trouble you cannot overrule the hand that called you. By the time you finish this message, you will see with clarity why this pattern has been happening, why your spirit has been stirred awake when the world is asleep, and why this is not a curse but a calling. You will understand that what you feared was also your initiation into deeper remembrance. Comment 777 if you receive this as confirmation. Comment 444 if you believe protection is surrounding you even in the night. Chosen one, you will not leave this message the same. By the end, you will remember who you truly are, why you were awakened, and why you were chosen. Chosen one, have you noticed how often your sleep is broken at the same time, around 3 a.m., as though some invisible hand is shaking you awake? This is not simply a matter of the body, it is a spiritual sign. The world calls it the witching hour, a time when darkness seeks to stretch its influence. Yet for the chosen ones, it is more than that. It is the hour when the unseen realms stir most intensely, when both divine presence and shadowed forces try to reach for your attention. It is not your alarm clock that wakes you. It is the vibration of the spiritual battlefield. In psychology, Jung spoke of the psychic energy that flows within the human being. This energy is not limited to the conscious mind. It lives in the unconscious, the place where dreams, fears, and hidden truths dwell. When you are asleep, your body is still, but your spirit is never silent. At 3 a.m., your energy is most vulnerable to intrusion because the body's defenses are low, but it is also the exact hour when your soul can receive pure revelation. That is why the chosen ones are often pulled awake, to witness, to pray, to fight, to remember who they are. Let us understand this on a deeper level. Your nervous system during rest is like a house with open windows. At 3 a.m., the winds of the unseen can blow through those windows, sometimes bringing peace, sometimes bringing disturbance. Witchcraft and manipulation feed off this vulnerability. When others seek control, they send their intentions in the night. But hear this truth: your spirit is stronger than any spell. You are not awakened to be destroyed. You are awakened to resist, to call on the divine, and to reclaim your power. Spiritually, the chosen carry a light that darkness cannot tolerate. Your energy is like a lamp in a cave. It cannot be hidden. That is why you are often the target of unseen arrows, the whispers of witchcraft, the burdens that feel heavier when no one else is awake to witness. But that lamp within you is also why heaven chooses you for this hour. Just as Jacob wrestled through the night until dawn to receive his blessing, your awakening is a sign that you too are wrestling, not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual forces. And like Jacob, you will rise marked, blessed, and never the same. Imagine it like this. Every time you are jolted awake at 3 a.m., it is as if a divine knock echoes through the halls of your soul. If you ignore it, fear creeps in. But if you answer it with prayer, with remembrance, with courage, then that knock becomes your victory. Every yes you whisper to God in those hours is a shield against every no the enemy tried to place upon your destiny. This is why waking at 3 a.m. is not random. It is revelation. It is the call for you to guard your energy, to protect your soul's treasure. Every time you rise in that hour, think of it as heaven sharpening your spirit. Every yes you gave when you wanted to say no was a drop of gold leaving your soul's treasure chest. But when you answer the call at 3 a.m., you are no longer drained, you are refilled. Chosen one, reflect on this. Who or what gets unsettled when you awaken and begin to pray? Their reaction reveals what they wanted from you. Your wakefulness is not weakness, it is sovereignty. Silence at 3 a.m. is not emptiness, it is the sound of your spirit reclaiming authority. So, the next time you find yourself awake in that sacred hour, remember, it is not just witchcraft that stirs you, it is your calling. It is heaven asking you to stand, to rise, to be present in the battle you were chosen for. Comment 777 if you know this is your confirmation. Comment 444 if you believe divine protection surrounds you even in those hours. This is not punishment, it is preparation. You are not broken, you are being awakened. Chosen one, everything begins to change when you realize that your waking at 3 a.m. is not a random interruption, it is a divine revelation of the hidden battle surrounding your life. What you feel in those hours is not simply insomnia, not merely stress, but the stirring of energies both dark and light. When you awaken, you step into the awareness that the battlefield is real and you are not a bystander. From a psychological view, people live within predictable rhythms. Our bodies are accustomed to cycles, and our minds create patterns of expectation. But when you suddenly awaken at the same exact time, it is an interruption of those natural cycles. In Jungian terms, this interruption often reveals an archetype, a shadow trying to rise, or a message surfacing from the unconscious. At 3 a.m., the psyche, which usually remains hidden, forces itself into awareness. You may feel anxiety, heaviness, or confusion, but beneath that, your inner self is trying to reveal truths that the daytime noise keeps buried. Spiritually, this disturbance is even more profound. For centuries, traditions have named the hours between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. as a period when spiritual activity intensifies. Why? Because this is the moment of silence when the world sleeps and the spirit world roams more freely. Some call it the time when witchcraft prayers and manipulations are cast. Others know it as the time when angels descend, carrying whispers of instruction, encouragement, and warning. Both dimensions collide in this sacred hour, which is why you often wake up sensing either fear or presence. When you stop dismissing it as just a bad night, the domino effect begins. Awareness is your first weapon. The moment you become conscious that there is meaning behind the pattern, you take your place in the war. Relationships may begin to shift because you no longer walk blind. Energies around you react differently when you start to pray instead of panic. What once drained you loses its grip when you rise at 3 a.m. and claim your sovereignty. Projection plays a large role here. People around you may unconsciously depend on your energy, expecting you to always be predictable, available, and compliant. But when you rise in the night, pray, and realign yourself, you shift your vibration. Their unspoken control begins to vanish. This is why some people react to you as though you are different or strange. In truth, your silence and awakening are breaking chains they once relied on. Chosen one, absence is a message. When you stop reacting the way you once did, when you no longer feed into patterns that drained you, your silence speaks louder than words. Just like a puppet whose strings have been cut, the manipulation ends the moment you stop playing the role others assigned you. This is why waking at 3 a.m. and choosing prayer or reflection becomes such a threat to the unseen. It severs the cords of control. The world may call you selfish, distant, or cold when you no longer bend to every demand. But the truth is, you are becoming free. Your spirit, stirred awake in those hours, is learning to breathe again. Like gravity, your silent prayers shift the unseen atmosphere, pulling things into alignment that your natural eyes cannot yet see. Chosen one, hear this truth. What seems like rejection or misunderstanding from others is often confirmation of your awakening. You are no longer who you were, and the energy around you knows it. That is why things feel unsettled. But this unsettledness is your liberation in disguise. So the next time you awaken at 3 a.m., don't just roll over in frustration. Recognize it, stand in it. Whisper to yourself, I am not being attacked, I am being awakened. That recognition alone creates a chain reaction in your life. Comment 444 if you believe your silence in those hours carries power. Comment 777 if you accept that your awakening is breaking cycles you once thought you were trapped in. The hidden battle at 3 a.m. is not meant to destroy you, it is meant to reveal you. And every time you rise, heaven sees, and the unseen trembles. Chosen one, to truly understand why your soul awakens at 3 a.m., you must look deeper into the roots of your own story. These nightly interruptions are not random, they are echoes of patterns formed long before adulthood. Many of the struggles you face now began in the hidden corridors of your childhood, when you learned to carry burdens that were never meant for you. Think back. As a child, were you the one who noticed things others ignored? Did you feel the heaviness in a room before anyone spoke a word? Did you learn to stay quiet, to avoid conflict, to always say yes, even when every part of you wanted to say no? This sensitivity, this deep awareness, was not weakness. It was the mark of your soul's calling. Yet the world misunderstood it. Parents, teachers, or relatives may have labeled you as too emotional, too sensitive, or too quiet. And so you began to wear a mask, a persona, to survive. In psychology, this mask is called the persona, the face we put on to gain acceptance. Behind it hides the shadow, the parts of ourselves we bury because others rejected them. As a child, you may have buried your boldness, your tears, your truth just to keep the peace. But burying those parts came with a cost. You learned to abandon yourself in order to be loved. And now, in adulthood, that abandonment resurfaces in the form of exhaustion, spiritual battles, and sleepless nights. Your 3 a.m. awakenings are the soul's way of shaking you, reminding you of the child who still longs to be seen. Spiritually chosen ones are often set apart even from birth. You carried a wisdom beyond your years, but instead of being celebrated, it was misunderstood. Like Joseph, who dreamed of the sun, moon, and stars bowing to him, you too had visions of a destiny greater than your surroundings. Yet those closest to him mocked him, and those closest to you may have silenced or shamed your depth. What Joseph experienced in betrayal, you experienced in quiet rejection. And so, you carried storms in silence, storms too heavy for a child. This is why the 3 a.m. awakening is so powerful. In the silence of that hour, your soul is calling you back to the child you once abandoned. It is heaven saying, see them, remember them, heal them. That little one who carried burdens too heavy still waits for your embrace. And every time you wake in the night, heaven is inviting you to return, not to who you were forced to be, but to who you truly are. Picture it, a child standing in the dark, clutching storms they don't understand. Now picture your adult self walking toward them, kneeling and saying, you were never broken, you were awake. That is the sacred work of the 3 a.m. awakening. It is not just about fighting darkness. It is about reclaiming the pieces of yourself that were hidden away. Chosen one, your sensitivity was never a curse. It was a compass. It was the whisper of divine memory, guiding you even when others did not understand. The world tried to convince you that being sensitive meant being weak, but the truth is, your sensitivity is your strength. It is what allows you to hear heaven's call in the stillness of the night. It is why you cannot sleep while others slumber. You were never meant to sleep through your calling. So tonight, when you awaken at that sacred hour, take a breath and whisper to yourself, I see you. I love you. You are not broken. Speak to the child within who carried storms in silence. Let them know their burden has been lifted. Let them know they are safe now. If this resonates with you, comment 777 as a declaration of healing. Comment 444 to affirm that your childhood wounds are no longer chains, but doors to your awakening. Remember, every night you rise at 3 a.m., you are not being haunted. You are being healed. You are not reliving trauma. You are reclaiming treasure. This is your time to remember who you've always been. Chosen, sensitive, strong, and awake. Chosen one, there is a reason why silence feels heavier at 3 a.m. than at any other time. The stillness of that hour can either suffocate you with fear or empower you with revelation. What many do not realize is that silence itself is a weapon. When you are awakened at 3 a.m., you are not being called to noise. You are being called to stillness. In that stillness, the truth begins to unfold. Psychologically, silence acts as a breaker of cycles. When you withdraw from constant reaction, you interrupt patterns that once drained you. The nervous system, which spends its days on high alert, finally finds space to release its grip. This is why many chosen ones find themselves awakening in the dead of night. The body and soul have been trained to respond, to explain, to justify. But heaven is teaching you the power of conserving your psychic energy. When you stop reacting, the leaks begin to close. Think of it like water flowing through a cracked vessel. Every time you argue, defend, or explain yourself to those who misunderstand, a little more of your spirit leaks out. But when you fall silent, when you withdraw instead of fighting back, those cracks begin to seal. That is why the silence of 3 a.m. feels sacred. It is not emptiness, it is restoration. It is the womb where transformation takes place. Spiritually, silence is the cocoon of the chosen one. Just as the caterpillar disappears into darkness before spreading wings, you too are hidden in the midnight hours, so your wings can form. In the scriptures, deserts, caves, and prisons often preceded great callings. Moses wandered the desert. Joseph sat in the pit and the prison. Prophet Yunus was swallowed in the belly of the whale. All silences, all hidden seasons, all sacred. What feels like absence is often divine presence in disguise. When you awaken at 3 a.m., you may feel abandoned, but in truth you are being cloaked. Darkness seeks to disturb you, yes, but heaven uses even that disturbance to draw you into stillness. It is in the desert of silence that the loudest voices of destiny are heard. In the desert of your silence, you will hear the voice you've been running from, your own. Withdrawal also exposes motives. When you stop reacting, when you go quiet, watch who becomes unsettled. Manipulative energies thrive on your participation. They wither when you stop playing their game. Silence reveals truth. Who gets desperate when you don't answer? Who panics when you don't explain? Their reaction is the mirror of their intentions. Your withdrawal is not rejection, it is protection. Chosen one, take a breath right now. Feel the weight that lifts when you do not need to defend yourself. That lightness you feel, that is your power returning. The silence at 3 a.m. is not a curse, it is a crown. Each time you rise and remain still, you reclaim fragments of yourself that were once scattered by conflict, stress, and fear. This is why your 3 a.m. awakening must not be wasted on panic or frustration. It is not a time to ask, "Why me?" but a time to whisper, "Here I am." It is the moment when your spirit is most uncluttered, when heaven's instructions can slip into your heart without competition. And while the enemy seeks to turn that hour into torment, the divine uses it as a sanctuary of renewal. So the next time silence wakes you, do not fear it. Rest in it. Let your heart know that silence is not emptiness. It is sovereignty. Comment 444 if you feel the weight of silence transforming into power. Comment 777 if you claim the cocoon as your place of rebirth. Remember, chosen one, you were not awakened to panic. You were awakened to transform. The silence of 3 a.m. is not an absence of God. It is the secret place where His presence becomes undeniable. Chosen one, the loneliness you feel when you wake at 3 a.m. is not only about the silence of the night, it is about the rejection you have carried in your life. That hour magnifies the ache of being misunderstood, of feeling unseen, of realizing that the ones you thought would stand with you often turn away when your light grows brighter. Rejection in the daylight can be hidden with distractions, but rejection at 3 a.m. becomes raw, undeniable, and heavy. Psychologically, projection explains much of this pain. When others reject you, they are often rejecting the parts of themselves they cannot face. Your authenticity, your depth, your sensitivity, these are mirrors. And not everyone is ready to face themselves in your reflection. When you wake in the midnight hour and feel the sting of loneliness, remember, it is not that you are unworthy, it is that your presence reveals what others are unwilling to heal within themselves. Boundaries also play a role in this rejection. The moment you begin to say no, the moment you stop being endlessly available, the fear of abandonment in others surfaces. They accuse you of being distant, selfish, or cold. But the truth is, your boundaries are not rejection. They are protection. Yet those who fed off your energy interpret your withdrawal as abandonment because they were never drawn to your soul. They were drawn to your supply. Spiritually, this rejection is confirmation of your light. Chosen ones throughout history faced the sting of being cast aside. Joseph was rejected by his brothers because of his dreams. Prophet Muhammad was ridiculed and cast out for bringing truth. Even Jesus was despised and rejected, a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief. Rejection is not the denial of your calling, it is the evidence of it. If darkness cannot silence your spirit, it will try to isolate you. But even in isolation, heaven is with you. The loneliness you feel at 3 a.m. is sacred because it forces you to confront a truth the world tries to bury. You were never meant to fit in. Your path was never designed to look like everyone else's. That is why the rejection stings. It pulls you away from the illusion of belonging and thrusts you into the reality of your divine assignment. Imagine rejection as a mirror too bright for others to look into. They look away, not because you were wrong, but because your light exposed what they were not ready to see. Like moths drawn to the flame but frightened by its heat, people are drawn to you but cannot remain in the fire of your authenticity. And so, at 3 a.m., when the world is still, heaven reminds you, they did not reject you, they rejected the reflection of themselves they saw in you. Chosen one, your rejection is not your end, it is your initiation. It is the breaking away that makes space for your true alignment. You were not created to be accepted by the masses. You were chosen to stand apart. And yes, it hurts. Yes, it feels like abandonment. But in truth, it is liberation disguised as loss. So the next time you wake at 3 a.m. and the heaviness of rejection presses against your chest, whisper to yourself, "This is not the absence of love. This is the presence of destiny." Remember that even in the night, when it feels like no one sees you, heaven watches, heaven remembers, heaven confirms. Comment 444 if you know your rejection is not the end, but the proof of your calling. Comment 777 if you believe that every rejection was simply divine redirection. The 3 a.m. awakening is not a reminder of what you lost. It is a reminder of who you are becoming. You are not rejected, you are set apart. And the silence of that hour will always remind you, you are chosen. Chosen one. When you awaken at 3 a.m., it is not just about the battle outside of you, it is about the compass within you. The silence of the night strips away the noise of the world, leaving you with only yourself, your breath, and the whisper of your soul. This is the hour when heaven reminds you that guidance has always been inside you. The challenge is not hearing it. The challenge is trusting it. Psychologically, this is what Carl Jung called individuation, the journey of becoming whole, of uniting the conscious and the unconscious. Every meaningful awakening, every synchronicity, every pattern you notice at 3 a.m. is part of your psyche's attempt to guide you toward wholeness. The world trains us to ignore this inner voice, to seek validation from others, to silence the whispers of our intuition. But your 3 a.m. awakenings are proof that your inner compass refuses to be silenced any longer. Think of the synchronicities you have seen in your life, the repeating numbers, the sudden thoughts that turn out to be true, the dreams that later reveal themselves in reality. These are not coincidences, they are confirmations. Waking at 3 a.m. is one of the strongest synchronicities you can experience because it is consistent, undeniable, and deeply personal. It is heaven tapping you on the shoulder saying, "Look here, listen now. You already know the way." Spiritually, the compass within you is the voice of your soul, the breath of the divine placed inside you before you were even born. The Quran says, "And we breathed into them of our spirit," while the Bible reminds us, "The kingdom of God is within you." Both affirm the same truth. Your guidance is not out there somewhere. It is already alive inside you. The 3 a.m. awakening is not simply about fighting shadows. It is about rediscovering the light you already carry. Let us pause here for a guided moment. Breathe with me. Place your hand gently on your chest. Feel the rhythm beneath your palm, the steady drum that has carried you through storms, through betrayals, through awakenings. That rhythm is your compass. It has never betrayed you. It will never abandon you. Every time it pulls you awake at 3 a.m., it is saying, "Trust me, I know the way home." Chosen one, you must understand that intuition is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the quiet knowing that rises before logic can explain. It is the gut feeling that warns you before your eyes see the danger. It is the peace that settles in your chest when you step onto the path meant for you. At 3 a.m., when distractions are gone, this intuition becomes loud. That is why you feel it more deeply then than at any other time of day. But trusting the inner compass requires courage. It often leads you down roads that others cannot understand. It may call you to leave behind relationships, jobs, or roles that no longer align with your soul. It may push you into silence when everyone demands answers. It may ask you to believe without proof, to walk by faith and not by sight. This is the test of the chosen one, to trust what cannot yet be seen, because the compass within already knows the destination. So the next time you awaken at 3 a.m., do not just fear the disturbance. Listen. Ask your spirit, what are you showing me? Let the silence guide you. Write down what you feel. Notice the synchronicities in your day. Trust the nudges, the whispers, the patterns. The compass in your chest has always been pointing you home. Comment 777 if you are ready to trust the guidance within. Comment 444 if you believe your 3 a.m. awakenings are not interruptions, but instructions. Remember, chosen one, the compass inside you will never betray you. It was placed there before you were born, and every awakening is simply heaven reminding you to trust it. The hour of 3 a.m. is not just about what is chasing you, it is about what is guiding you, and that guidance has always been yours. Chosen one, now that you've walked with me through this journey, let us gather the threads together. You have carried the ache of sleepless nights, the confusion of childhood wounds, the sting of rejection, and the weight of silence. But beneath it all, your 3 a.m. awakenings have not been punishment. They have been prophecy. They are reminders that you are not ordinary, that your life has always been marked by divine design. Psychologically, what you have been living is the path of individuation. It is not about becoming someone new. It is about remembering who you have always been. The child who was called too sensitive was actually deeply awake. The adult who feels isolated in silence is actually being preserved. The one rejected by others was simply too bright a mirror for them to face. And the one awakened at 3 a.m. is not broken by torment. They are refined by fire. Spiritually, this is your homecoming. Awakening is not an escape from pain. It is the revelation of purpose hidden inside that pain. Just as Joseph's betrayal became the road to his throne, just as Moses' desert became the place of his calling, your sleepless hours are not wasted. They are sacred years being written into your destiny. The silence of the night is not emptiness. It is the voice of God wrapping you in remembrance. So, let me speak these affirmations into your spirit. You weren't forgotten. You were hidden. You weren't broken. You were being shaped. You weren't abandoned. You were recalled. You weren't rejected. You were redirected. Every 3 a.m. awakening was not a curse. It was an initiation into your true becoming. Chosen one, breathe this in. Your becoming is the message. You are no longer defined by the pain of your childhood, by the misunderstanding of others, or by the interruptions of the night. You are defined by the truth that you were chosen, sealed, and set apart. And every time you rise in the night, you are living proof that light cannot be overcome by darkness. Comment 1111 below if you declare, I choose my peace. Let it be your seal, your marker, your public declaration that you are no longer the victim of sleepless nights. You are the victor rising through them. Comment 777 if you receive this as confirmation of your calling. Comment 444 if you know protection surrounds you, even in the silence of the darkest hour. This channel, this message, this moment, it is not simply content. It is a sanctuary, a place for your soul to rest when the world feels heavy. When you subscribe, you are not just following another video. You are joining a circle of chosen souls who carry the same ache, the same awakening, the same remembrance. This space is your refuge, a reminder that you are not alone, not forsaken, not forgotten. And so I leave you with this final poetic truth. Chosen one, Your silence is not emptiness. It is sovereignty. Your sleeplessness is not torment. It is transformation. You are no longer available to what drains you. You are available only to the truth of your becoming. You are not defined by the rejection of others. You are defined by the remembrance of heaven. Rise, even at 3 a.m., not in fear, but in faith. Because your becoming is not just for you, it is the message the world has been waiting to see.